Welcome everybody. My name's Rossi, and this is my second semester at
USC.
Davis School of Gerontology. I'm in the master's program. I'm clinical. I work full-time as a dental nurse in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I run a small company, the Bite Wing, as a publisher, and I'm an antique dealer. And my goal is to pass this gerontology class. And as we move on here to our presentation, the social psychology of health disparities, and that was presented in the Annual Review of Sociology, Volume 31, page 75 to 103 in 2005. And the overall goal of the paper is comparing psychology and sociology and working together with the social and psychosocial factors determine the health which explains ethnic and social economic disparities. The upstream search on ethnic and social economic position, the SEP, in health includes education and occupation, which reflects a powerful social factor downstream. And here the author defines disparities as social differences. It's interesting that most of the studies found compelling evidence that racial or ethnic disparities in health had independent effects. And social structure and personality, the SSP framework, concerns macro-social individual attitude, behavior, and feelings. And by this we mean that the macro-social structure involves the economy, the race, and life expectancy, whereas the mesio-level environment refers to the health care workers and the neighbors' hoods. And in order to bridge these individual groups, the social gap between the macro social and conditions linked to the meso level interactions and structures, and the individual behavior deals with the disposition, perception, and all three of these models encompass epidemiology goal of coping for health. The physical, social, and SSP environments implement the heart of this review in the field of psychology. The main objective purpose of the social economic position, the SEP, is to improve health, consist of higher social class positions, thus used to understand household, individual, and neighborhood components to the association of healthy occupation, income, and education, and stability. And the future focus is to motivate health and well-being. And the steps that they talk about in the article, they talk about the MacArthur scale of subjective social status, the MASSS, places higher education and income at the top, and healthy outcomes compare local environments, and they put the low social economic status at the bottom. And the studies show that in childhood associated with low status and as an adult had high degree of disease. They talked about the longitudinal line, and coping research showed that people adjust behavior between identity and social response that are flexible to negotiate successful cultural situations and longitudinal support. In summary, the health research lays foundation for group differences in productive health expectations. And the new directions that the author talks about will identify clinical encounters to shape interpersonal and behavioral, social, psychological sensitivity to environmental events. And the local current events in the New York Times, I found 3 articles on actually Sunday, September 14th, 2014. And this one is called A Way to Beat Poverty. And it says to start even before birth and to fight inequality and give help early. And then the other article, Aging Around Us, talks about New York City and the percentage of people over 60 years old, and how in the communities where people are living, how they can have like a captain on the floor of the neighborhood to help look after everybody. And then the final article is learning how to exert self-control. And this is actually by a professor of psychology at Columbia. And they call him the Marshmallow Man. And the example they gave was of children sitting around at the table, and they put a cookie in front of them, and they told the children they could eat the cookie now, or they could wait 15 minutes, and then they would have 2 cookies. And they could relate how the child reacted then as to how they related later in life, and how that could be related in how to save money and the choices that you make. So they're talking about learning self-control. And then I wanted to do more research on the lifespan developmental psychology and the methods, and I found the study of age function, where B indicates behavior, A equals age, and F means function. And the same person could be observed over time. And in our presentation, they talked about a cross-sectional line in the Marmot study, and then you could observe the person's age, for example, over time, and that would be the horizontal line. And the longitudinal line that they talk about is actually in between those. And the pros and cons, I wanted to know more about theories. And they are defined as statements of organized knowledge and research. And the definition of developmental psychology describes, explains, and modifies behavior change across the lifespan. And in this case, change is associated with age, and that's how it relates to our gerontology. And I also locally went to the dental convention at the Moscone Center in San Francisco, presented by the California Dental Association. And I listened to the psychology lecture, and he said that when we laugh, we are learning. And he talked about success and high performance is high attitude, and emotional success is emotional intelligence, and learn to read your own emotions and move to things and learn from your mistakes. And success starts at birth, and to be in the right place at the right time. And the real X factor is emotional intelligence. And I also listened to A Skeptic's Guide to Clinical Protocols, and this was by actually the editor of the Dental Journal. And he says when you're looking at your articles to think different and to find evidence. There's a lot of risk involved. He said that times have changed. 10, 20 years ago, it was very, very different to do research. Today you can use Medline, you can Google your search, and then
note the artwork, Joy.
In closing, do you have any questions for me? Thank you.